The story begins at an airport, where the last flight of the day was about to take off. In fact, news had just started coming in from all over the world that a new virus was spreading everywhere, because of which people were becoming violent for strange reasons and biting each other. So after this last flight, the airport itself would be shut down. Flight attendants Pola and Janice were getting ready there. The main captain of the flight, Frost, along with co-pilot Wilsey, also confirmed with them that everything should be fine, because this was their last flight, and there were going to be very few passengers on board anyway, so managing them would be easy. Here, Wilsey began to mention that since this afternoon he had been feeling strange, so he had brought some medicines with him just in case his condition got much worse. And now, as soon as the time came, the attendants started boarding the passengers onto the plane. The first among them was George, a teenager traveling alone to another city to be with his parents. There was also an elderly couple, Bev and Kingston, where Kingston had an illness that prevented him from speaking or moving. Besides them, there was an army doctor, Sheila, an old woman named Louie who had her pet cat with her, and a young couple, Neil and Susan, where Susan was soon going to become a mother. Flight attendant Jenny also told everyone to come back to their seats, and a passenger named Ralph quickly started putting a cage with his pet rat into a box. Another passenger, Ralph, was helping him when the rat ended up biting Ralph. Meanwhile, the cage also wasn't fitting properly, so Jenny had all the luggage, including it, stored together in the cargo area. There was also another passenger, Preston, who kept coughing continuously, just like the co-pilot Wilsey was feeling. Now, after everyone had settled into their seats, the flight finally took off. Although in the meantime, there had also been a fight between the pregnant couple and Henry, because Henry had come with his pet rat. So Jenny calmed them down, and Henry told her how he was actually a scientist and felt that the whole world was becoming increasingly mannerless, like how just now that couple had picked a fight with him over his rat. Meanwhile, some more time passed, and the news had spread even further that a dangerous virus was spreading worldwide, and governments were asking everyone to stay quarantined in their homes. On the plane, Ralph, who had been bitten by the rat, was now starting to behave in a very strange way. Jenny noticed from a distance how he was making weird sounds sitting in his seat, so she rushed over to check on him, and at that point Ralph vomited on her and was also screaming loudly that he didn't know what was happening to him and that they should land the plane right now. So Pola also came with a towel and started helping Jenny manage him. Meanwhile, nobody noticed that Louie's cat had come from below and was eating Ralph's vomit. Jenny left Pola with Ralph and went to clean herself up, but by now, Ralph had completely changed, and he came running from behind, first knocked Jenny down, and then started banging on the cockpit door. Seeing this, co-pilot Wilsey quickly locked the door, so their main pilot, Frost, quickly gave all the details to ground control about how one of their passengers was behaving strangely, and as news was coming in from below, they now wanted to make an emergency landing at the next airport as soon as possible. Inside, seeing Ralph so out of control, the other passengers also came and tried to calm him down, but he was attacking everyone. So Henry, Pola, and George together forcibly tied Ralph down. Meanwhile, Dr. Sheila was also checking the other passengers to make sure they hadn't received any injuries from Ralph's attacks. Jenny was completely terrified about what was happening. Why had Ralph suddenly started attacking them? A little while later, from inside, Captain Frost announced that they had received permission for an emergency landing and would be landing at the very next airport, so all passengers should quickly take their seats. And now, despite bad weather, the pilots started landing the plane. Because of this, the plane was shaking quite a lot, and now Ralph's head started banging against the surroundings. So Pola picked him up and started tying him to a seat so that he wouldn't get hurt. But as both of them were tying him down, Ralph had already fully turned into a zombie. He started eating Pola's face, and then he got up and was just about to attack Jenny when the other people grabbed him from behind. But because he was no longer under anyone's control, everyone finally got together and locked him in the bathroom. By then, the plane had already landed, so Dr. Sheila quickly tied a scarf around Pola's face from the emergency kit to save her. She also said that this bandage was only temporary, and they would need to take Pola to the hospital as soon as possible. Inside, Pilot Frost was told not to come out of their plane, but Frost didn't listen and, breaking the rules, took the plane towards the gates because both Pola and Ralph's lives were in danger inside. Meanwhile, Ed, who was among the staff at the airport, spotted them and opened their door and started taking them out one by one. Inside, Captain Frost was holding the bathroom door shut together with Wilsey, while the other passengers started coming out. But Bev and Kingston were still inside because Kingston couldn't move, so they started waiting for help from someone else. Meanwhile, outside, Ed had gotten everyone out, but now he found all the gates locked, which was also weird for Ed because today he was the only employee left here, so he started running with the others towards the other gates. But it was the same situation there too, and every single door had been locked from outside. They also noticed that through a CCTV camera, higher authorities were watching them, but not opening the door for them. Because of which, now everyone was scared about what was happening to them. Why were they being imprisoned here? Just then, they heard many sirens, and through the window they could see that many police cars and ambulances were already outside, but they weren't taking them out. By now, they had also covered the windows so that no one could see outside. And now an announcement began that none of them were allowed to go outside yet, and they were being quarantined right there. So they should all stay calm until the next announcement. Hearing this, everyone started calling their families to let them know they were locked inside the airport. They were also angry at Jenny and started questioning her because she was an airline employee and she owed them an answer about why they weren't being allowed to go outside. But Jenny herself was locked in there with them. So what answer could she give anyone? Now, a little while later, Dr. Sheila told them that Pola's condition was continuing to worsen as she had been bitten by Ralph. So there were some medical medicines in her luggage that could help her for now, and they would need to go into the plane's cargo area immediately and bring her bag from there. So from here, Jenny and some other male passengers went into the plane to get Sheila's luggage. By now, lights had started going out everywhere, so they went into the plane using a flashlight. But here, their Captain Frost and co-pilot Wilsey were nowhere to be found, as they had been holding the bathroom door shut. So Jenny nervously opened the door, but there was blood splattered all around. Ralph was also not inside, meaning he had somehow gotten out and had bitten the pilot and co-pilot. So they nervously started moving forward, and here their attention also fell on Kingston, who was now sitting alone because he couldn't move. They nervously asked him what had happened here after they left. Where had their pilot and his wife gone? But Kingston couldn't say anything. So Ed quickly opened the hatch and entered the cargo area, where Jenny picked up Dr. Sheila's bag, and Neil took out a gun from his bag so that he could save his wife if there was any problem. Here they also noticed that the pet rats Henry had kept in the cargo area had now broken out of the box. Not only that, Jenny now looked ahead and saw that their co-pilot Wilsey, far away, was badly covered in blood and was now also changing just like Ralph, when suddenly from above, Captain Frost attacked Jenny, who had already turned into a zombie. And now, to save Jenny, Neil shot and killed Captain Frost right there. By now, they had also understood that people were turning into zombies due to this virus and attacking each other. So they quickly took the belongings and started leaving. On the way, they also took Kingston with them. But now they noticed that one of their companions, Preston, had been bitten on the neck by someone, and this had been done by none other than Bev, who was now coming to attack them too. They locked her inside and came back to the airport with Kingston. From there, Dr. Sheila quickly started treating Pola from her medical kit. Meanwhile, Neil also told his wife Susan that he had to shoot the captain because he had turned into a zombie. So first of all, they blocked their door with a table so that zombie Bev couldn't come out. Jenny then gathered everyone together and started telling them that they were all now trapped here because a zombie virus had spread there from somewhere, and the police wouldn't let them go outside either. So from now on, they would have to live together. She further explained that the virus they were seeing in the news was actually this same virus. So now they would have to plan together how to get out of here so that they could go back to their families. Meanwhile, by now, Kingston started noticing a rat above him that had red eyes, but he couldn't speak. So the rat jumped on his head and bit him, which everyone else also witnessed. And now they caught the rat and started treating Kingston. But they knew that the virus from the rat had probably spread to Kingston as well. And because Pola had already been bitten by Ralph earlier, they locked both of them in a container so that even if they transformed into zombies, they couldn't bite the others. Meanwhile, Ed took out the rat and noticed that there was a tag attached to its leg, meaning this was not a normal rat, but one that had been experimented on in some lab. And since it was Henry who had brought these rats on the plane, everyone started asking him whether he had spread this virus everywhere, but Henry flatly denied it. Jenny also remembered that Henry had told her in the beginning that he was a scientist and worked in a lab, but Henry convinced her privately that if he had brought lab rats onto the plane, airport security would have caught him. Now, while they were talking, Ralph came running from behind and pounced on them. So hearing his noise, everyone came and grabbed Ralph and tied him down. Meanwhile, a message had also arrived for Ed from outside that the police were sending 4 officers inside from outside, and they would come in, investigate, and confirm whether they could all come outside or not. So everyone gathered at the door with hope. But now, 4 people came in from outside with protective suits and guns, and they pointed their guns at everyone, gathered them all together, and took the infected rat from them, and took their gun from Neil. In addition, they also had strange injections, which they gave to the injured Pola and Kingston. Meanwhile, everyone behind was also asking them why they weren't letting them get out of here, and one officer answered them that they couldn't do that, and they would not put the people outside at risk for all of them. And for now, all of them would have to take 1 injection each, after which, if they turned out to not be infected, they would let them go outside. Now everyone was scared about what these injections contained, so Louie was the first to agree to get the injection, but just then her pet cat bit her and ran off. In fact, it had initially gone near Ralph, from which it had also become infected. So now all the officers started firing at the cat, but the cat got away. Meanwhile, Kingston had now completely turned into a zombie, and he attacked one of the officers and bit him. After which, the second officer quickly shot and killed Kingston, and now took his injured companion and started heading outside. But they had been locked from outside too now. But since they had guns, they shot and broke the door open. And seeing them going outside, another passenger also followed right behind them. But as soon as they got outside, the police started shooting at their own colleagues, in which only one officer survived and came back inside. So everyone pulled him inside and started asking him what was going on outside. Meanwhile, by now the sounds of more zombies were being heard from inside. So everyone quickly ran and locked themselves inside a container. By now, Neil was also in the process of converting into a zombie. So the other people moved Neil's wife Susan away from him. Inside, Dr. Sheila told everyone that the injections those officers had brought in for them were all different from each other, meaning that even the doctors outside did not yet know how to eliminate this virus, and they were testing different injections on all of them to see which medicine could stop this virus. So in anger, Henry picked up a gun and started asking the injured officer what their intentions were, and the officer revealed that in reality, even outside, no one yet knew how to stop this virus. That is why they were making different kinds of antidotes, which they would try on infected people to see if some of them would work. Here he further revealed that so far, the government had only been able to find out that this virus was not normal, but was bioengineered. In fact, there was a secret cult group that had created this new virus by experimenting on rats and then started spreading it across the world. So the government was trying to find the antidote for it. And saying this, the officer shot himself to avoid turning into a zombie. Seeing this, everyone was now terrified, and they knew that the police outside would never let them out and would experiment on them with various medicines. So now they would have to get out of here on their own. So Ed suggested from there that he had been working at this very airport for many years. So there was an underground tunnel here through which the drainage water flowed out, and they could go down and try to get out through that tunnel. While he was explaining this, Wilsey came from above and grabbed his arm, and by now, their gun had also jammed. To save Wilsey, they pressed the button above, and the container went up and completely crushed Wilsey. Everyone quickly came out and now started heading towards that underground tunnel where Ed was showing them the way. Jenny also noticed that their companion Henry had disappeared from somewhere, and now as they were trying to get out, they could also hear zombie sounds. So all of them started running quickly. While on the other side, Henry alone took out a gun from a bag, meaning he had some secret plan that no one outside knew about. Meanwhile, while running, Jenny came across their co-worker Paula, who had by now turned into a zombie. So Jenny, without any hesitation, repeatedly hit her with an iron wrench and knocked her down. After which, everyone came into an office and started looking at the map of this airport where they had found the path to the drainage tunnel. George then said that before running, he had picked up Henry's bag, and now some strange documents had come out of it, in which some dangerous experiment had been conducted in a lab. There was also a mysterious box in this bag. They were looking at it when Susan and Neil, who had already turned into zombies, reached them. But before they could do anything, Henry came there and shot both of them. But in the meantime, a zombie had also bitten Henry. So before enough time passed, George opened Henry's secret box. Inside it, he found many injections and medicines, and finally, seeing it, Henry accepted that he was indeed the one who had brought those experiment rats onto the plane. In fact, he was a member of a secret evil group who believed that we humans were destroying the planet Earth. So some scientists had together formed a secret evil group whose main objective was to eliminate humans from the Earth. Henry was one of them. So they conducted experiments on rats in a lab and finally discovered the virus that turns humans into zombies, from which they would become violent and bite each other and die, and humans would be wiped off the face of the earth. Now Henry pointed his gun and said to give him his medicines, which were the antidote for this illness. Otherwise, he would kill George right there. Ed also came to stop him, but Henry had already shot him too. So now Jenny nervously gave him his antidote. Henry further explained that their cult group was spread everywhere, and that is why he had been able to bypass security and bring the rats onto the plane. In addition, their members had together by now already spread this virus all across the world. So no matter what anyone did, no one would ever be able to save the earth from the zombie apocalypse. And now Henry, to get out himself, took George as a hostage and picked up the map and fled from there, while behind, only Jenny and Sheila were left. They went out through a different route to find the underground tunnel, but here there were even more zombies, and they somehow started killing them one by one. But all their companions had by now already turned into zombies, and they couldn't fight all of them. So both of them ran and hid in a room. There, Sheila also told them that before running, she had taken thermal goggles from the officer. So with the help of these, they would be able to see even in the dark and would be able to get out from here. But now, looking at Sheila, she realized that while Sheila had been fighting those zombies, a zombie had also bitten her, and she would also soon turn into a zombie. So Sheila herself said that she would stay behind and distract these zombies, while Jenny went ahead and saved George from Henry. And saying this, Sheila went outside and started screaming, which caused all the zombies to pounce on her and start biting her. On the other side, Jenny came out and finally reached that tunnel, where with the help of the goggles, she could see bloodstains in the dark, and now she started following them and moving ahead. Where at a short distance, she also found the map and Henry's shirt, and looking below, she finally found George. But he was screaming and telling Jenny that she had to be careful because the antidote hadn't worked, and Henry had also now turned into a zombie. But despite his warning, Jenny went down to save George. Now looking up, blood started falling on her goggles, which she was in the process of wiping off when Henry appeared in front of her, who had by now completely turned into a zombie, and he attacked her. In the scuffle, Jenny's goggles fell down to the floor. Meanwhile, Jenny was also trying to protect herself from Henry so that he wouldn't bite her. Seeing them fighting, George put on the goggles and picked up Henry's gun and started shooting at Henry. Then, freeing herself from him, Jenny put the goggles back on and brutally killed Henry with that same iron wrench, because it was because of him that all of this had happened. But by now, fire had broken out above, and both of them understood that to stop this virus from spreading, the police was burning down this entire airport, so they would need to get out of here quickly, otherwise they would be burned and killed here. George was also scared of going into the darkness, so Jenny gave him the goggles, and both of them finally entered the tunnel and started making their way out. While from above, the sounds of explosions kept increasing, meaning they were dropping bombs on the airport. And in the meantime, George noticed that actually, while fighting, Henry had also bitten Jenny, and now she was also slowly falling ill. But he didn't move ahead, leaving her behind. So now, to save George, Jenny started walking behind him in pain, and finally they reached the exit of the tunnel. But this too had been blocked with an iron bar, and because George was still just a child, he started squeezing through the gap. While from behind, Jenny, who had by now completely turned into a zombie, came out from the other side and started trying to bite him. But it was George's good fortune that she couldn't get past the bars, and George finally managed to escape safely, where he knew that now no one else was coming out from inside. Meanwhile, Henry's remaining companions had spread this virus all across the world, for which no antidote had been made yet, and now, fully prepared, he set off alone on foot towards his home. And with this movie comes to an end.